Hello and welcome. So we've been receiving some reports from our customer support team that you guys are confused about the multi-positional scanning. So, well, it is kind of a complicated function, and that's why we decided to make this video for you guys.
Yes, so we really want to clearly get into why you would even need to use multi-positioning scanning. Because there's some items that you could be scanning that you can just scan directly with Trackit. That's the beauty of Trackit, but there's definitely some that you're going to need multi-positioning for. So you'll clearly understand that. Also marker placement. Many of you have felt kind of confused on how many do you need to have in there, how spread out they need to be. We'll clearly address that issue. Also your environment, when scanning the item that you're choosing, how to go about scanning it, the strategy, what you need to clear out. And also that includes cord management, because Trackit definitely has some cords. What's the most efficient way to go about scanning your item?
Yep, a very step-by-step, very detailed video. So be advised, it's going to be a long video. So I think we're probably going to break it into parts to make a playlist for you. So use the playback speed or even jump the areas that you already know.
Okay, so first and foremost, we want to go over now deciding whether you even need to use multi-positioning. So really, number one point you need to keep in mind, how large is the item? These are all smaller items, so especially these two, the vase and the lion, just go ahead and scan it directly with the Trackit. You wouldn't need to use multi-positioning, but then you get to larger pieces and you would have to start considering that. Also, something else to keep in mind, depending on the shape of the object. So this lion here, really you can get a really solid scan without having to put any markers on. The only thing is, below you could consider this. It's flat, so later when you're processing it, you can simply just use fill holes and flatten it out. So definitely don't need to use multi-positioning for something like this. But then you come to an item like the vase here, you can't just use fill holes for the bottom. So if you want to get a full scan, would you need to use multi-positioning? Not really the best scenario too either, because remember, these markers are 10 millimeter. So you need to keep in mind, is there even a convenient spot to place the markers on this piece? And there really isn't because of the contour and the shape. So this would be a better piece to maybe scan once, then scan again, capturing the bottom data, and then merge it. But now we're actually getting into a larger item like this ATV frame. Definitely use multi-positioning for this. If you didn't, you'd have to go about scan it once, flip it over, scan it twice, flip it again 3-4 times. You'll have 4 models, and then you have to merge that. You could do that, but very time consuming, and there's a possibility there the accuracy might have some issues while merging 4 things together. So that would be a big benefit to use multi-positioning, because you can simply put on 5 markers on here, all in one scan, continue rotating it, and you wouldn't have to merge it. So something to keep in mind. Is it small or is it large? And ultimately, do you want to merge it or do you not want to merge it? Okay, so here we go. Our first item that you need multi-positioning for, it's a little bit larger, the ATV frame. First of all, I want to go over what kind of markers that you get when you purchase Trackit. We give you a package of these magnetic ones, really nice 10 millimeters. But then we also have the sticky 10 millimeter markers available, but that doesn't come with Trackit when you purchase it. You just simply have to go to our website. They're very cheap, and we'll send you a bunch of them. Also, when you think of now the next step, the setup. I have this item. It's very long and narrow. So right how I have it positioned as you see it would be the most efficient way to do it. I have the tracker right here. I have this narrow part facing it. That's going to be the best way because it's going to allow me to simply move around it really easy, always picking up the scanner, and it's not going to get blocked. Because remember, the field of view is about 4 meters. So if I had it positioned, break the laptop. If I have it positioned this way, I'd get over here, and the Trackit probably wouldn't be able to see me. So that's an issue. So first and foremost, having the tracker there, thinking about how you want to position your object, this would make the most sense. Now as for marker placement, so I have a couple that are already out of the package. So you need at least five for it to see. And this item, because of the size of it, I'm only going to use 5. I'm going to place 5 in the front. But that doesn't mean that you only need 5 for other items. This has been an issue, I know, for some of you. If it's a large item, for example, I mentioned 4 meters is what it can pick up. If you have an item that's exceeding those 4 meters on the other side, well, you're going to have to put another 5 on this part. And you're going to have to put another 5 over here. That's what we mean by 5. 5 that it can see in that particular moment. But if you start moving to another area and you're moving the Trackit, it would have to have another 5. So it all depends ultimately how large the item is. But because this is picked up within its range, 4 meters, you just need 5 in this particular, for this particular piece. So I'll put 1 right there. Put 2 here would be good. Then I'll put 1 right below there, and then 1 right there. That's all you need for an item like this. This is going to allow me to scan all the way around it, pause, flip it over, scan again to get it from another angle, flip, flip, flip until I flip all the way around. I've captured all the angles. But of course, always have these markers facing the Trackit. I would never take this and flip it this way, because then I wouldn't be able to see the markers. Very self-explanatory in that way. So now let's get into actually scanning it. All right, so let's go ahead and scan this ATV frame. I know I just got done saying about 5 markers. I just went ahead and put a 6th one on there for good measure. Not to say that you can't put more. 5 is the absolute minimum, so I just put an extra one on just to ensure that we have a nice smooth scan. So let's get into it. New project. So here we go. We have the option of new global marker or import global marker. So if I was going to import it, pretty much all that means if I had a friend or if I previously scanned, captured all the markers on another laptop, another computer, and I wanted to import that data into here, I could do that and I wouldn't have to go ahead and capture it again. But since this is all fresh, we're just going to go with a new global marker. And something else you can see, I want to bring this out in the lower right corner right here, you can see it says tracking quality excellent. So if it ever says poor, you would want to calibrate your tracker, the Trackit again, because that will definitely affect it. But since it's excellent, we're going to go ahead and keep on proceeding. And as you can see on the home screen, it's picking up all 6 markers that I have on there. And this is a nice improvement with the software. So previously we would suggest to actually put the scanner in an area where the Trackit cannot see it, but the software already knows. It can tell that this is not part of the markers that you're putting on the item you're scanning. So you don't have to worry about it, because as you can see on the home screen, it just sees what I have on the ATV frame. So it's all good. Let's just push, let's select, I want to open this up first. Scanning distance, we can go ahead and widen that out. It's something to keep in mind. Click Start. Captured them. Complete. And now we're going to go on to the next process. It's captured the markers. So we're going to go on to actually capturing the point clouds now. Don't click New Scan. Go to selecting Cloud Scan here. But we can first of all adjust this. I'm going to keep it at 0.70 target point distance. Depending on the item you're scanning, you can change right here. Let's select metallic shiny. And here too, sometimes you'll see the tracker, the temperature of the tracker and the scanner. My scanner is still a little cold. You know, we're scanning in the studio here, which is ultimately a garage studio. It's a little tricky. So it's probably like 60 degrees, 65 or 27 degrees Celsius as we see. Don't worry about it, it should be okay. Ideal is if it could heat up a little bit, but it'll do fine. So cloud scan, go ahead and click that. And now we can go ahead and start. And you can always see on the left side the tracking field of view lets you know where you're at and how close you are. So right there, I'm getting too close to the tracker, 1.5 meters. If I go all the way to the back, you can see where you max out as you're coming up to it, 4 meters. So I got a lot of space in the back here. I can come all the way back here, plenty of space. Then even as you come to the side here, it tells me when I'm out of its field of view. So as I mentioned earlier, if we would have set up the ATV facing that way, you can imagine why that would be tricky. I'd be coming to the end here, it wouldn't be capturing it. And same thing over here too, wouldn't capture it. Okay, so now we come to the first time we rotate it. I pause the scan. And really this is something you can also keep in mind. We have the markers on the ATV frame, so because of convenience, I'm gonna rotate this. But ultimately, if I wanted to, the same thing, it's the same concept. I could ultimately rotate the Trackit itself, the tracker. So it just depends what's easier. Later, if you have an item that is, of course, much heavier and larger, you can't physically rotate it, well, that would make sense for you to actually move the tracker itself around the item, to capture those certain angles. But since this is light enough, small enough, I'm simply just going to twist it like this and allow us to continue capturing more data. And again, just rotating it that way, the tracker itself can still see the 6 markers that I've placed on the front. So this here is a little bit of advice to you. As you can see right now, I'm trying to scan the bottom, but because when I was previously scanning it from the top, I captured a little bit too much of the table. So maybe something to keep in mind, the software is going to clean this up later. The only thing that makes it hard for me now is just seeing the holes or what I'm not capturing on this bottom plate because I have a little bit of noise from the table. So if you can, when you yourself are scanning an object, try to avoid capturing as much as you can from the item that your piece is sitting on, whatever table surface. Now let's go ahead and rotate it another time so it's completely upside down from its original position. So obviously movement is okay, but you see it's rocking right now. So we don't want it to rock, so try to find a way to put it so it's no longer rocking. This is pretty sturdy. But we might have to move the tracker itself back a little bit now because we moved it to the front of the table. Let's see if it actually can pick up those. So if it doesn't pick it up, I'll just have to rotate it, skip it, being completely upside down. I'm a little concerned that it's not going to see those markers right there perfectly. It's too wobbly that way. Okay, there we have it. I feel like we have a pretty complete scan there. Let's just run it through the processing portion now, edit it some, and see how it turns out. All right, so we just had a great result. Love how the ATV turned out really nice. So just as a review, using multi-positioning for this particular item, what did we learn here? What did we go over? First and foremost, we determined the size, how we want to position it. Maybe because this is long and narrow, and if we were actually in a room that's a little more cramped, but this room is really wide. But if you did, because of that, we determined, oh, we'll put the Trackit there, and we're just simply going to rotate this around because it's small enough that I can physically rotate the ATV frame itself. So because of that, I put the markers in the front here where the Trackit can see it at all times. And how many did I put? At least put 5. I ended up putting 6. And of course, if you have a larger item, you need to put more because it's all depending. There has to be at least a minimum of 5 in the field of view of the Trackit, which is 4 meters. So that's what we did. And obviously we rotated a full 360. I could have chosen to rotate the Trackit around here, but I didn't because it was easier to just rotate this, so I just rotated the ATV itself. Hopefully that was helpful, and in the next item we're going to go a little bit larger and we'll see the process with that.